My name is Darren Hupke, and this is Pixels and Polygons. Welcome to another episode. This episode is a bit of a special one. It's a crossover episode with some of my new friends at the Flashback 64 podcast. So just the power of the internet kind of connected us, and we're able to see we're doing some similar work together. They host a podcast chronologically covering every release on the Nintendo 64 as they kind of play through and revisit the release dates and the release times of what was going on in the world and what made those games special on the Nintendo 64. I felt that kind of made a lot of sense about what I've been doing with my books. So it was just kind of cool to connect. And I've been on a couple of their episodes, which will be posted in the near future. And after I recorded the last episode with them, I figured I'd ask them and invite them to be here. So I've got both Gooey and McKenna, the hosts of Flashback 64, on the episode today. I don't know if Gooey's his legal Christian name, but that's what he goes by. And it was really fun to kind of chat with them. We discuss favorite video game soundtracks. So I like to revisit this question again because different soundtracks evoke different responses and emotions from people. And so I'm just a big music fan anyway, so I really like to kind of biasly go back to this. So I'm happy that they picked this as the question to answer today. So have some fun with it, and be sure to check out the info below. You can find links to their social media as well as links to their podcast. It's really fun listen, and hope you enjoy it. Bye. Typically, like if I have a new guest, I'd like you all to like maybe introduce yourselves. So maybe tell me just a little about you and what you do, and then I'm going to do the random on-the-spot icebreaker question. And to keep it in line with the question that we'll ask anyway, what is your favorite video game sound effect? Like whether that's when you collect a coin in Mario or get the star power or grab a ring in Sonic. Think about what your favorite, and maybe it doesn't have to be your definitive favorite, but what is like a top 10 favorite sound effect of yours? But yeah, introduce yourself, tell us that, and tell us a little bit about what you do, what you play, and what you like these days.
Do you have a sound effect? Do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Because I'm like, there's with that and the other question we talked about, it's just like there's so many things. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah. Should I just like introduce and then talk about the sound effect?
Yeah. I want to just throw you off your game and make you have this awkward of like, oh my gosh, what do we first? So mission accomplished. But yeah, just tell us your name, your favorite sound effect, and what you all do for your podcast.
I'm McKenna. My favorite sound effect is when you solve a puzzle in Zelda. We are the co-hosts of Flashback 64.
I'm Gooey.
Kind of a double intro there.
We're a package deal, yeah.
Yeah. So we're going through the Nintendo 64's catalog in release order. Talking about from 1 to 3 games every month, and the kind of historical, cultural context surrounding them. And we've got bonus episodes talking about other things going on in the era, or, going more into depth about certain aspects of games.
Yeah, we just got done doing a bunch on GoldenEye, and we just got done recording an episode on Tomb Raider with Darren, which was very fun. My favorite, I'm having a hard time. There's so many sound effects that are like visceral. Like I hear them and I'm like, oh, but I can't, like, Oh, okay. I want to say it's kind of a music thing, but so is yours. But we talked a lot about it. The noise from GoldenEye, that pipe, weird like sound thing in the soundtrack that's in like a bunch of the songs. That's like the sound that like defines GoldenEye, and I think maybe I've just heard that so much lately that that's the first thing that comes to mind. But that is one of those visceral sounds. Like even when they drop it at a moment in the song, and I'm just like, ooh, that hits hard.
Mm-hmm. That's cool. All right. I don't know that I have one off the top of my head, and it's my question, so I don't have to answer it. And at this point, I'm not going to force myself to pick one. I mentioned like the Sonic rings. I mean, I think that's kind of iconic for what that is, but I've never really been a big Sonic guy. But yeah, there's some good stuff.
You ever at a gas station and like they have like a machine there that like makes that noise? Have you ever heard that?
No.
I feel like I don't know if it's like, I don't know what machine it's coming from. It sounds like from the card reader or whatever, but I've been at like various gas stations, like what, I can't remember if it was a Shell or what, but like for some reason I start hearing the Sonic ring noise. It's like the exact same noise. And I'm like, can they do that? Is that allowed?
I wonder. Yeah. They're,
it's weird.
I mean, I bet they like, it's, who's going to notice it and then like take, legal like steps to kind of like do that. Like how are you going to like prove that, and how odd is that to even be like, like, hey, fine, this is a sound effect that's similar enough. Like, well, whatever, we're just not going to deal with this. Like it's so obscure that like, but yeah, I'd be curious.
It's clearly not a chain thing, because I've been to multiples of every gas station. I go to all the kinds of gas stations, and I only just I hear it though, like every once in a while, like every few months, I will hear it somewhere. It's not a ringtone. I swear to God, I'm not crazy. Anyway, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to derail with that.
No, it's fine. We just we're learning more about you. We learned that you frequent gas stations and you enjoy your time spent there. I love
gas stations, yeah.
So that's cool. Well, then yeah, let's get into it then. So because it's two of you, we're gonna make this a one and done episode. So I'd like you both to answer the question, but the one we kind of picked and decided on in advance to give you some time to think about it, though, is kind of a classic video game soundtrack question. But is there or what game has a soundtrack that is just like memorable or like takes you back, that is just an all-time favorite for you? It could be from any genre, any era, but yeah, what game soundtrack would that be? And tell us a little bit about it.
You want to go?
Yeah, when we were talking about which questions to answer, you mentioned this one, and I had an answer immediately. So I was like, we should do this one. Yeah. And it's Celeste. That just playing it, and I was immediately struck by the soundtrack, and frequently go back and re-listen to it. And it's such a cool, it takes its cues from some older gaming generations, but it's very much modernized. They've got the technology to do some more advanced stuff, but besides it just like sounding awesome, I love the way it's so connected to the progression of the story and the individual characters and how they're feeling. And when I'm going back and listening to a game soundtrack, a lot of times it'll be split up by areas, and I just have this association with the area that the song is playing during. But when I listen to the Celeste soundtrack, and I can hear what's going on in mostly Madeline's mind, where she is in her progression on the mountain. It's like re-experiencing the story when I listen through the soundtrack. I love the way it's all crafted. Each character has like their own leitmotif that's played, remixed depending on the context, mixed in with other characters' leitmotifs.
That's like a cool thing about a good soundtrack is like when you can listen to it and like almost re-experience the whole game.
Yeah.
That's really cool. So do you have you purchased like that soundtrack? I don't know if it's I Am 8-Bit. There's one of those vinyl companies that like put out the soundtrack on like a vinyl record release.
Mm-hmm.
Like, do you have that, or is that something you want to acquire, or do you have a digital download version of it that you'll sometimes listen to, or is it just
I'm
it had
writing
such
that
an
down
impact?
for a birthday gift idea, actually.
There you go.
Yeah, the vinyl would be really cool to have. I listen to it a lot on YouTube just because the composer just has a playlist of all the music on her channel.
Mm-hmm.
I listen to a lot of music on YouTube, so that's often the way I do it.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah, the I to me like a good game soundtrack will do exactly that, like take you back, not only just like feeling about the game, but like the emotions and the feeling from like the characters, like that headspace of just all there. And like when you have that like personal connection to a game as well, it's just, it's more of a beyond the game itself. You're like thinking about what was happening in your life in those moments, and you're like, then suddenly that starts to like attach itself to those things, and like, good or bad, like it's really cool how music can have like that heavy of an impact on you and everything. So yeah, it's neat to see that Celeste clearly has a big strong grab on you there too. It's a really good game too, just top to bottom, well designed, well crafted, original, interesting creators, and like just the history of that like that whole world is just, it's really cool. So if you have not played Celeste, that's one of those games that everybody should at least try and dabble in, and you'll eventually get your hooks in it, and then eventually realize it's not that long that you won't be able to experience the whole thing as it is anyway. So have some fun with it.
Yeah, I need to get back on. Last time I was trying to play it was not a good setting to play it.
Mm-hmm.
So I need to I want to restart it, I think, because I got like pretty far in.
Yeah, it can be hard to come
game.
back to it after you've
I want to like go from square one and kind of re-experience it. Yeah.
There's if you're even hardcore about it, there's a Twitch streamer that I watch occasionally, and he puts like stuff on YouTube. That's probably where I primarily expose myself to his stuff. But Grand Pooh Bear, he primarily plays like a lot of Mario games and stuff. But there's somebody made like a Super Mario World hack, but it's like basically Celeste but Super Mario World, and so it has like all like the Celeste mechanics but in like Super Mario World physics, and like the music and design and all that stuff. Like it's really cool. But like his like playthroughs of that game, or just like watching a video of somebody playing that game, it's just kind of interesting if you are a fan of Celeste, just to kind of see it interpreted in like a different way, and only the way that video games can reimagine things. It's really cool.
Oh, that sounds tight. Yeah.
It may have been made by the actual developer of Celeste. What's their name?
They do a lot of cool stuff.
I'm like blanking on their name, but
Matt or
yeah, it is something like that. Yeah, and so then they are the one who did the actual ROM hack themselves. So like you can. It's not just some like random person's like attempt to emulate that. It is done by the creator of Celeste, like using the same tools that like ROM hack makers make. Mm-hmm. Weird tangent to go off on, but take a look at it. It's kind of rad. So it's just something further.
That's kind of cool, because I feel like a lot of like people tend to. This is like the reverse of that. Like I was thinking like when there was Mario Maker, one of the first things like I would try to do, or any game that has that, is like, oh, let's make a Mario game like 1-1 in this or whatever. And it's awesome to make like this incredible game like Celeste, and now be like, let's use it to reimagine Super Mario World. It's like,
yeah, no, it's cool. It's the complete
touching
inversion of that all. Yeah. All right. Well, that's a rad answer. I like that. I'm going to underscore some Celeste music here in the final edit of this episode. So that'll be cool. But what about you? What is that soundtrack? What is that game that you you have a tie to?
So the answer of like maybe like all-time favorite or whatever would be Ocarina of Time. But when I first read the question you sent to me, I like sat and I thought about it like very literally. He said like, what is a game you will never forget? And so I imagined, I kind of meditated. You were doing something. I sat there and I meditated on it for like 5 minutes, and I was like, what's if I got like hit by a bus or something? And I started slowly dying, and like my memory started to fade or whatever. Like what's the game that would be like the last one to go? And I thought, what's like the most like ingrained game sounds and music and stuff in my mind is probably the original Super Mario Brothers. And the reason is just because like it's a game I've been playing it as long as I have memories, and in fact, like at certain points in my life, it's like I was so young that it's some of the only thing that I can remember about that age, and it might be because I kept playing it over the years or whatever. But when we did an episode where we played through a bunch of the early NES games with our friend who has the whole collection, and a lot of the games had this effect, but Super Mario Brothers in particular just has this feeling to me like I have like a stronger like sense memory or something, like when I hear it and play it. That's like more, I guess, because it takes me back to such a primitive or like early time of my life where I'm like just learning how to be a human baby, that it's just so ingrained in my mind. That's like video games to me. So yeah. I don't know, it's not, there's not much to that soundtrack. There's only a couple tracks, but obviously it's like the most iconic song in gaming probably, and just that specific sound in that game, like that version of it is kind of the iconic rendition of the song to me.
Yeah, I mean, well, that was done by Koji Kondo, who is like, one of the greatest composers and music designers for video games. So like, he just hit it like early on and like with video games, and has had like a super long career with Nintendo. So he's made iconic music for a bunch of different games and everything too. But yeah, that classic Mario Brothers like soundtrack for sure, like is an all-time classic. Yeah. I was working with a guy once, and he was telling me when you have a song stuck in your head, and you need to get it out, like just start like humming like the Super Mario Brothers like music, or like the 1-1, and like that will help get the song out of your head. Which I was like, oh wow, yeah. It's like, wow, that really works. And then, but then it just
probably is like,
but it puts that song in my head. Then it's like now I just have the Mario Brothers song in my head. Like, so I just traded Two Princes by the Spin Doctors for Koji Kondo. Like I'm still in the same world. Like I'm still Sorry to specifically give you one.
It is probably, the Mario theme is probably like the most catchy song like ever written, I think.
Yeah.
If there's a way to measure that, I don't know.
Yeah.
But just shout out to Koji Kondo. Like I mentioned Ocarina but like I think a lot of his soundtracks are that sort of like memorable. They hit memorable moments in my life. So it started there, but it kept going pretty much throughout his whole tenure.
Yeah,
I mean he's still working,
still cruising. So and even then, like games like WarioWare or Mario Maker, or things that have like this retroactive way of like repurposing like the classic stuff, like people are just remixing his music and melodies and things like that in unique ways. So like his music just continues to live on, even if it's a different composer, just done because of just the appreciation of the history of the games and of his music and everything. So yeah, I don't think he will never be gone from music, gaming, like soundtracks and music in general. I think that's really cool.
Oh yeah.
I picked one, and I laned it into ensuring this completes the circle of the crossover appeal of our podcast. Like my dog's being ridiculous behind me, making noise.
Ridiculously cute.
Yeah, it's 3 legs, so he has to be cute.
Aww.
Yeah, mine is gonna be Blastcore. The music for that game is just ridiculous. Like, it's like multiple genre, multiple styles, like always catchy. Like, there's like funk stuff, there's like folk and country type sounding stuff, there's like lots of like synth and guitar stuff, and I think it's just such a ridiculous game that's just like simple concept to jump in and have fun, but then like it's like as you try and obsess and master and like, you know, really complete harder challenges, like you're just really zoned into it, and like the music just kind of helps you like oddly like feel like you're in this weird world to begin with and everything. And it's just, I think it's an underrated game, or maybe it's not underrated, maybe just in my circle of people, you know, we don't like think about it or talk about it as much, but if it is in general, people are forgetting about it. Like, don't, like, it's an odd, rare game for the Nintendo 64 that's super fresh and super kind of fun, and was original at its time and still hasn't really had something emulate it to this day, but it had like a really special and really unique soundtrack itself. And that same composer for Rare, like, you know, obviously helped work with the GoldenEye soundtrack and the Perfect Dark soundtrack, and, you know, did more like iconic music for that platform and for the Nintendo 64. But if I'm going to give it to any one game, it's going to be Blastcore.
That's a great pick. Yeah. I think it is. I think you could say that it's an underrated game.
Yeah,
because we know in our circle, we know a lot of primarily Nintendo fans, because we're big and we do a lot of stuff like with the Zelda community and stuff. And there's certainly people, like when that launched on NSO, or we did our episode about it as well. You know, there were some people who were like, "Oh, that's cool," but I think a lot of people were like, "What is this game? We've never heard of it."
Yeah.
So like, it wasn't one of the. I don't think it would be in the same tier as like the other Rare games on N64.
Yeah, it's weird. It should
which
be.
I mean, they're all. I guess not every game can be number one, but because they had such a.
Yeah, and and if your number if your number one is GoldenEye and 1B Perfect Dark, like, yes, you can understand if it's not as or not as high on that list, because you had some pretty epic games there as it is.
But the soundtrack is Simeon Akers. Yeah, that's a great pick.
Yeah, cool. Well, this is my podcast. It's just short and sweet, so that's it. We did it. We finished it.
Oh, cool.
If you want to plug some stuff, like obviously your Flashback 64 podcast, like where can people find it? Anything specific you want to plug or highlight before we say goodbye? Take the time to do that now.
Yeah, we're available like all podcast places you can get if you search Flashback 64. We're mainly we're on Blue Sky. We're Flashback 64 on there. We should shout out our Patreon, I guess, because we have been doing a lot more on there. So on our show, we cover 1 to 3, as McKenna said, like that's like our main episode. Once a month, we kind of move forward chronologically. And then on the in-between weeks, we sort of talk about things that are sort of related to the time or whatever. But lately, we've been doing on our Patreon just episodes of us. They're a bit more, it's just the two of us and just kind of like talking about things we've been up to. Like we talked about Kong and Godzilla. We talked about the new old trilogy of Planet of the Apes movies. Just, random stuff like that. And we also like rank the games. It's not a big feature on the main podcast, but we kind of rank the games we're going through there. So there's just a lot of extra stuff you can get over on the Patreon. So I think that's patreon.com/flashback64.
What's the buy-in amount? Like, what's the amount to get access to that? Like, how much?
So we have 2 tiers. We have a $1 one that's like you get. We put up our episodes early. For the $1 tier. That's the superstar tier. We got some theming there. And you also get we have a little you can come into the private chat on our Discord. We have like a patron chat. But honestly, actually plug the Discord really quick. That's I don't know. We don't have a link for that, but
I think I can.
Yeah, we had. Yeah,
I could put that in, as you call it, the comment section below.
The Discord is really popping. Not just the patron area, but mainly, honestly, the rest of it. Like, we got a lot of cool pals in there, so want to promote that. But then on our Patreon, we also have a $5 Millennium Star tier, and that's where you get the bonus episodes, like basically the stuff where we're actually doing, a little bit more work to put the stuff out, like record and edit. So that's on the $5 tier. But even if you just want to give us $1 to help us out, and you get the yellow name in the Discord, and you get to hear the episodes a little bit early, that helps us out a lot. So yeah, check that out.
That's cool. Yeah, it's a oh boy, coughed. It's a fun podcast, and I mentioned this with them before on the episode I did of their show. But the chronological thing, I think, is just cool. Like, it's something I've always like randomly, subconsciously been like associated with in like everything I do creatively. So having it being done chronologically, is just like a cool concept. So check out their show. I'd love to have you on future episodes again, just answering some short and sweet questions. Makes it really easy to have a podcast in between podcasts and little quick bursts to listen to. So appreciate y'all being on.
I love it.
Thanks.
Yeah, we'll come on anytime. We're happy to, for sure.
Yeah.
All right. Have a good one.